everybody. Welcome back to Foreplay Sports Bar. Scott Taylor, Mike Davidson. This is the Major Misconduct, and in this case, the game suspension. We have just gone through the Jets twice, and my response is, Mike's response is, oh my God, the team is going to fold.
No, they're not going to fold. They're just not going to win. That's the problem.
So now let's talk about the other teams. Did anybody else do anything right? I think the Dallas Stars did. I think they had a pretty good couple of days.
They got rid of Sheldon Souray, and they brought in Derek Roy.
Exactly.
Although they lost Steve Ott in that trade, who was a pretty good player. But I think they're a better team because they got rid of Ribeiro, who's suspect.
Yeah, but they also got Ray Whitney, correct?
Yeah, 2 years, though, at 40 years old.
But he's a good teammate. Ray Whitney's a good teammate, and he just had a great year.
You have to pay him the second year. It counts against the cap if he retires.
Exactly.
But they have tons of cap room, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal. I think Dallas had a very, very good couple of days.
I don't think they'll make the playoffs next year.
You know who had a horrible day?
Who?
The Columbus Blue Jackets.
Scott Howson's the worst GM in the NHL, actually. Actually, I've got a top 5 list of worst GMs, and Shovel Dayoff's on there. It goes Howson, Bob Murray in Anaheim's really bad. Brian Murray in Ottawa, a lot of people love him. I personally think he belongs number 3. Steve Tambellini in Edmonton. How many first overall picks do you need? And Kevin Shovel Dayoff rounds out that list, believe it or not.
So that's your top 5 worst GMs.
Worst GMs in the league, right?
Well, Bob Murray made an interesting decision. He took Sheldon Souray for $3.25 million over 3 years.
That's 3 years of headaches. Granted, on the power play, he will set up guys like...
He's a great power play player.
He will set up guys like Perry and Getzlaf and Solani. So that's a good thing. It sort of makes up for losing Wisnowski to the Islanders for a second. But for 3 years, he spent a year in the minors in the Edmonton system for a reason. Because he's not that likable. But he'll like California. He might do very well, but they spent too much on him. Cuba to Florida for 2 years, $4 million each. What about Radulov going back to Russia for $9 million? What's Fedorov thinking?
CSKA didn't have a very good day either.
You know Semen's on his way there now because if Radulov's worth 9, Semen's worth 15.
12, yeah.
Like it's crazy some of the money being thrown around, and I like what Glass did going to Pittsburgh because he wants to win, and that says a lot about what he thought about Winnipeg's system right now and when they're going to win. I like Mason going to Nashville. I think that's a shrewd pickup because I thought he was a good backup here, but there was some moves that were really, really, really lateral, and the Rangers lost. Vancouver thinks they need a puck-moving defenseman, and he was the best guy available. I wouldn't have given him 6 years because I think he's only had one really good year.
He was a jet killer last year. I thought he did well. Of course, he was the guy caught on the flying W.
I thought he was on the ice for the flying W. I don't think that... I think the thing with Garrison, he had a great first half and tailed off in the second, but so did the Panthers. I don't know. It's questionable on that one. 6 years is a long time.
6 years for Carey Price on the extension, $39 million.
That's a good move. Because in 6 years, he'll still be a dominant goalie. I'm a little worried about Pavelec for 4, even though I like the price tag attached to him. Because I think if they don't play better in front of him this year, he'll melt down. Because I've heard stories of him not changing with his teammates after the team played badly in front of him,
which happened a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at Andre Pavelec's numbers on the road, he was dreadful. I mean, he wasn't bad. He was dreadful.
The whole team was, and that's a reflection of Noel. I think they played him too much. They gave him. There was too many nights where the team in front of him played bad, and I think he's got the power to be a top 10 goalie, but I think he also has the power to have such a bad year that he'll get run out of town.
What do you think the Jets are going to do for a backup? They going young?
I heard Dan Ellis, and I don't like it. I would try to trade for Steve Mason out of Columbus because I think he needs a new start, and I think he still has something in there. I might be crazy on that one, but I also said Daryl Sutter should have been interviewed for the Jets job when they hired Noel. So, hey, I might be thinking outside of the box, but sometimes my box is right.
I personally like Claude Noel. I think he's the most entertaining guy in the world. Most entertaining guy in all of hockey. But the Jets had an opportunity to get the guy who won the Stanley Cup and get the guy who was Coach of the Year and turned a very marginal pedestrian St. Louis Blues team.
They didn't even interview either guy.
Didn't interview either
because the decision process for who was going to coach the team was all optics. They knew Noel was going to get the job. Just give it to him. Don't put Craig Ramsey through interviewing and qualifying. Don't do that to Haviland. Just give the job to the guy. Don't do this for the sake of doing it if you're not going to do it right. If you're going to do it right, you get the 3 best candidates out there and the candidate you want, and you make the candidate you want earn it. And Shovel Dayoff and Shipman and company didn't do that. I love the Jets more than anybody. But they've got to do things better if they want to get in the playoffs, because 5 years from now, if we're always missing the playoffs, I don't think the waiting list for season tickets is going to be so extreme.
I read a newspaper column that said that the Jets should have gone out to get Jordan Tutu. He signed in Detroit.
Absolutely.
He's going to help Detroit.
Problem with Tutu in Winnipeg is that he knows too many people in the scene, and he could be a bigger problem than Evander Kane. And that's no slight on Jordan Tutu. I covered him in Brandon as a sportscaster when he was with the Wheaking. I think he was exactly what the Jets needed because sandpaper, he's got speed and he's got toughness, but as long as he could do well, I think Babcock's going to have a field day with him, and the Wings got a heck of a lot better losing Hoodler and bringing in Tutu.
Yeah, I agree with you. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and their thud in BC right after this. You're watching the Major Misconduct. I'm the Major. He's the Misconduct today, and we're at 4 Play Sports Bar in Winnipeg.